Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Drew, and I want to welcome you back to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. And in today's episode, getting ready for the holiday week, we're going to talk about a topic that's on everyone's mind, which is consumption. And a lot of times it's overconsumption, but today I'm talking about information consumption and how we can turn that overindulgence into a positive thing and how we can start to balance consumption and creation of information. So tune in, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. I'd like to talk for a few minutes about the act of creation. The act of creation and the fact that it's probably one of our most underrated capabilities as human beings. And I just think about the fact that, when you create something, essentially you have to start with something. You want to create a meal, you have to start with ingredients. You have to start with contents to be able to put together. If you want to create music, you first have to have something that you consume that goes with that. You have to consume the training. You have to consume the time that it takes playing the keys, learning how to process the information and act it out. And so when you think about how we create it always generally starts with something. It just starts with an idea, a thing, a thought. But where do our thoughts come from? Well, our thoughts usually come from inputs, right? Inputs that we've analyzed, inputs that we've wrestled with, inputs that we've rejected, inputs that were good for us, inputs that were bad for us. Inputs we consume. The content that we consume provides the basis for our thoughts and our ideas and the things that we create. And so one of the things I think that allows us to do is to look at the idea of the content that we consume and being more purposeful about it. When you consume something to create, that really makes that information stick. It really makes it a lot more tangible. Really allows you to do a lot more with that information. And so no different than if you were consuming information about how to, live a healthy lifestyle or to eat better, right? You'd have to consume that information, and then you could create opportunities for yourself to live a better life by creating a plan, by creating a promise to yourself. Let's say if your intent was to take certain information and really apply it to your own life, you're creating. And when you look at consuming to create, it makes the whole process of creation that much more meaningful because you're doing something with purpose. You're not just doing it for the sake of doing it. And it allows us to become more mindful about the content that we consume and what reasons we consume the content, right? We all can consume mindless information that doesn't really support us much. There's ways we can consume, entertainment that has entertainment value, right? And there's ways to, create happy moments in other people's world. You might be able to take a funny joke you've heard and share it with someone else, but you might be able to put a spin on it that applies something unique to your own life that really makes it that much more valuable. So when you consume to create, you have an ability to provide additional value and sometimes even new meaning to information that you've received, because we all have perceptual filters that we go through in life. And I could read a book and you could read a book of the same title, but if our life experiences are different, we're going to receive those lessons a different way. You might have a background on the subject that I don't bring to the table, and maybe there's certain portions of the information I'm unable to process. But when you look at your consumption and being more intentional about it, you may find that what you can create will be that much more powerful, that much more impressive, that much more rewarding. And so in the information age, when we find that we can be easily inundated with excess data, what it's important to do is to have some filters for focus that help you align what you consume with the things that you want to create, right? Even all the way down to if you're trying to create more happiness in your life, you would want to make sure you're going to consume information that's going to be in alignment with the happiness that you're seeking to attract. It's funny. I was actually at a mastermind event where one person was sharing their analogy about how really in life we can look at the content that we consume, the lessons that we learn is like you're playing a card game and you're picking up cards one by one by one. You're picking up all these cards. Well, sometimes in life you'll find that you're picking up great cards. You're picking up great information. You find unique nuggets that can be very valuable if applied intently to your life. But if you constantly are picking up cards and you don't lay any cards down, you don't take something and create something new with it or share it with others, then it just kind of stockpiles and gets stale and doesn't have an opportunity to provide value to others. So it's important to take something from the things that you learn and share that, because sometimes it might be your unique interpretation of the information that might be able to provide additional insight or understanding or help another to grasp a concept sooner or more clearly. So our ability to create can be one of the beautiful benefits that we receive when we consume information. You know the old phrase, once taught, twice learned, right? It just goes to show when you consume information, you might consume something that you want to be able to learn, and the way to really make it stick is try teaching it to somebody else. Trying to teach it to someone else is going to make you struggle to make sure that you're clearly conveying the concepts in a way that's going to be able to help that person see in a better way. So that was something I wanted to share because I've started to look at some of the lessons I've learned. We all know that, information without application just leads to frustration. And since I've made a fairly significant investment in a variety of trainings and education and self-development through my life, that I recognize that applying that information is one of the most important things that can sometimes slip through the cracks for people. And so when you look to consume information, especially for learning, right? If you want to pick up a book about creating wealth or investing, let's say, right? You want to take that information and create something with it. Create a plan, create a set of steps, create some action in your life that starts to generate results that are in alignment with what you've learned, that starts to track those things that are part of the promise and the reason that you paid the price. So I thought that would be something that might help someone out there that starts to recognize that if they can get really keen on the content that they consume with the intent of creating additional insight for themselves and others by being able to apply their own life lessons learned, especially through the application of the newfound info, that can be groundbreaking for you and the others that you share it with, and help to continue the expansion of that knowledge base. So thanks again for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you got something out of this. Share it with a friend, and be sure to tune in the next episode of Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. This is your host, Drew Davis. See you on the next episode.